As I have it filtered on FanDuel, it looks like just about everybody else that played 150 lineups in the $7 on FanDuel took it on the chin as well. Lots of familiar names that are a lot better than me at DFS. But that's not important because today is a new day. Today is Wednesday, January 15th. This is the NBA Strategy Show presented by Yahoo Sports, the only place where you can become a baller. And I don't know if there's another and. Sal, joining me on Wednesday as per usual. What's going on? I have no and.
There you go. What's going on, man? Nice segue into myself here. Yeah, having a good day so far. Have this projected out. Didn't get to play last night. Was on a flight, but I guess I'm happy I didn't play last night on how it went. I had everything sorted going through it, but I didn't really recap to look how the night went, just player wise.
It would have been really great if I did not play yesterday. I would have significantly more money than I do right now. I've got last night's FanDuel $7 pulled up. One, because I was in it, and two, because it's nice to see FanDuel results in lineup study now. And we spent so much time looking at DK. I think it's nice to go the other direction. And oh boy, did this not go well. Chalkiest player of the day, James Harden, 61.7% owned. I had 78%, went for 59. He took 37 shots. Only got to the line 11 times, which is kind of a bummer. Ignoring DFS for a second, Ja Morant looked incredible last night. Really fun to watch. A lot of fun no-look oops. Jaren Jackson was stepping into threes. It's a fun game to watch. But yeah, look, Harden took 37 shots. Just in comparison, in the game against Minnesota 3 days before this, he had essentially the same fantasy game. We went for 50. He took 20 less shots. This is why you play James Harden every opportunity that Russell Westbrook is not out on the floor. He can go for 60 in his sleep. 13 of 37, 5 of 19. That game could just be dramatically different for a couple more. He missed 24 shots from the field.
Yeah, that's nuts. It still went for 60 plus.
Yeah, I'll take my chances. 41 real points still. I'm in. Luka Doncic, 52.9% owned. I had 67. Went for 32.6 because they beat the Warriors by 27, and he played 27 minutes.
Yeah.
Stink bomb there. Kelly Oubre, 19 fantasy points, 47% owned. Stink bomb. Amari Spellman, 4th most owned player, 3.2x. PJ Tucker, 5th most owned player, 3.3x. Chalk just over and over and over again died. Yeah. Brutal, guys. Brutal. Highest scoring player of the night last night, obviously, Kyrie Irving, 62.5 fantasy points, played 32 minutes, went 12 of 19 from the field. Didn't think he'd play 32 minutes. I didn't think he would have an efficient scoring night against the Utah Jazz, yet here we are.
Yeah, and I also didn't think that yesterday I was watching just his post-game report. He said that he'll be on the floor tonight 100%, so yeah. On a back-to-back. But yeah, I mean, he's been nuts this year before he got hurt. What is he averaging now? 1.5 fantasy points a minute?
It's a big number.
It's got to be somewhere around there.
Somewhere in that neighborhood. I know that he has the second highest. I mean, he's obviously only been back for 2 games, but he's just behind Giannis in the last 30 days of rate. And it's not like he played a ton of games earlier, so it's got to be somewhere in that 1.5 area.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what these winning lineups look like. Just seeing Trey and Kawhi being up there for cheaper than Harden. I imagine some of them had some combo of that. I thought that was viable. It's just tough to try and get off of Harden in that spot.
That absolutely was. I got just everything that I touched turned to crap. It was really staggering. Had a decent amount of Tristan Thompson, 9.6 fantasy points. Kyle Anderson gets named the starter when Jay Crowder gets ruled out. Had a decent amount of Kyle Anderson at the minimum, 7.8 fantasy points. I had Elfrid Payton go for 2.3x. Draymond Green go for 2.6x. Elia Kobo, 2.3x. These are some of the most owned guys I had. The fact that I had any lineups whatsoever finish in the money is incredible.
What did Okobo or what was his ownership in the big one on DraftKings? Do you have that?
I have the FanDuel one in front of me. He was 24% owned at the minimum, and he got 8 fantasy points.
Yeah, wow.
Let me see if I can pull up DraftKings quickly. I have it here. Akobo was 60% owned.
Yeah. Jesus.
Yeah. Chalk just took a brutal beating. Devin Booker was good on DK, as you know, from a chalk perspective. Ben McLemore at 3,500 was pretty solid, but not a great day for chalk yesterday. That's for sure. Not a great day for anything that I touched. I hope you ignored me, at least for that one. Winning lineup in the $7. So newly minted $100,000 air, best 87. Had 4 lineups in the contest. The winner was Pat Beverly, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Huerter, Devin Booker, Glenn Robinson III, Mikal Bridges, Jaren Jackson Jr., John Collins, and 58.6 fantasy points out of Rudy Gobert.
Wow. Was that like relatively lower on? Like what was Huerter at?
So that was, I'll go through all of them. 25% owned Beverly, 8 on Kyrie, 13 Huerter, 17 Booker, 4 on Glenn Robinson, 13 Bridges, 11 Jackson, 18 Collins, 5 Rudy Gobert. So pretty low owned lineup. No Harden, no Luka Doncic, no Giannis Antetokounmpo, no Trae Young. He didn't pay up at all. Highest dollar player in this lineup, $9K Rudy Gobert.
Yeah, I was gonna say it seemed pretty balanced with just Huerter getting there at 60 points last night. Wow. This is such a, just looking at the top of it, a weird night. Dylan Brooks is up there. Barrett.
As long as you avoided everybody that looked like a decent play from a point per dollar perspective, you were fine.
So was it like a single bullet that won
it? Best 87 had 4 lineups. They finished first, 716th, 7,871st, and 24,000th and change.
There you go. That's all it took.
Yeah. And I woke up $99,900 and something to the good. I didn't do that. I lost $1,006.50, which was not the lowest of all the people that played 150. Papa Gates, Chipotle, McLovin, all bageled. It's fun, so can't be too mad.
Yeah, it's just one of those nights.
I wasn't the worst. I didn't lose every cent like Papa Gates and Chipotle did. They both went 0 for 150.
Did they have anybody at like 100% or close to it?
Let's check. They had Papa Gates had Luka in all but one lineup. Chipotle had 96% Luka.
On FanDuel?
On FanDuel, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
80% Lou Will to Papa Gates. 79% Austin Rivers. Rivers went for 17.9 fantasy points. I thought he was going to be done. Rolled his ankle pretty early. Still able to play 27 minutes of Austin Rivers basketball. Nice to see they both went pretty heavy on Tristan Thompson. 0 for 5 from the field, 8 rebounds, and that's it. That's it. He didn't have any other stats. 8 rebounds in 24 minutes. This is a man that played 34, 38, 45. That's the first time he's played less than 30 minutes since December 14th. He had no points, no assists, no steals, no blocks, no turnovers, no fouls. Just 8 rebounds. Barry, take this entire slate and shoot it into the sun. It is terrible.
Yeah.
You know what's not terrible?
What's that?
Becoming a baller.
Wow.
Do you know where you can become a baller?
Where?
Yahoo Sports, the presenting sponsor of this show. Cash Building Blocks article, which is Emacs Daily article, should be finding its way into chat right now. It's as if I spoke it into existence. Peruse the article, figure out what Emacs got going on, but then click the link at the bottom. Use the promo code AWESOMO. Get yourself $30 in Yahoo Sports rewards points. Good as cash. You're going to get no management fee contests. Sometimes. Lower management fees than you'll see anywhere else in the industry. You're going to be able to do CSV edits like usual. You're going to see softer competition. It really is just a fantastic place to play. We highly recommend it. We're happy to have them as a sponsor, so please check it out. Yahoo Sports, presenting sponsor of this show and of the Early Bird podcast. But it's not just about Yahoo. We also would like you to sign up at awesemo.com. Go to osmo.com/join. Use the promo code NBA Strategy, or click the link that gets dropped into chat, what I would imagine to be quickly. And you can get yourself 50% off your first week with us. Any weekly package you want to choose, as long as you use the promo code NBA Strategy. One big word, no space. NBA Strategy. Get yourself 50% off your first week. 10 gamer. And I'm not going to be playing it. I'm not going to be playing this one or pretty much any NBA slate for like a couple days. I will have some lineups going tonight. I mentioned to Sal before the show that I've accumulated some tickets for a contest on FanDuel. And unfortunately, I will be flying through the sky during lineup lock, which is going to really complicate matters. One, I need to hope that I have proper Wi-Fi. Two, I need to hope that I'm not over a state that forbids it, which is also a technicality that I'm not really interested in. So yeah, the most likely scenario is that I'm running a 10 lineup train, and we'll see how that goes. The worst part of this is I love big slates. I've been incredibly successful on them all season. Small slates are stealing a large majority of my bankroll. And the one day that I also have tickets and can play, I'm going to be on a plane. The worst part is going to be when I have really good Wi-Fi for like 45 minutes. And I plan it out and I run a crunch and I'm like, I'm going to enter something now. And the moment that I click enter, that's when the Wi-Fi is going to go, or we're going to fly over Kansas or something, and they're going to be like, no, you can't play here. We're not allowed to have fun in Kansas.
Yeah, you're going to hit some kind of turbulence, and you're not even going to be able to physically keep your laptop steady for that lock button.
I'll lose my mind. It's going to be so awful. I know it's coming. So
make sure you get those good dummy lineups in.
Yeah, gonna need to set that really solid. I think I have 10 tickets. I might go 2 separate dummies, 5 and 5, instead of just going 1.
Yeah, in case something catastrophic happens.
Yeah, just if there's any, like, have one that takes some risk, maybe a questionable guy, maybe an Karl Anthony Towns, questionable status, take a shot at it. I don't know. We'll see. You ready to talk about these 10 games?
Yeah, definitely.
Let's do it. First game up on the docket, Boston Celtics, Detroit Pistons. Celtics, 9.5 point favorites at home against the Pistons. Let's take a look here at Boston. Daniel Tice, questionable. I think that's the only piece of news we have to worry about from a Boston side. For Detroit, Christian Wood, questionable. I'm pretty sure that's the only piece of news that we have to worry about from the Pistons side. Let's start with Boston. Going to be hard not to be interested. 113.75 implied total is pretty good for the Celtics. And the Pistons have just been really bad as of late. 8% worse than average on a per possession basis defensively. That is dead last over their last 15 games in the entire league. If I'm looking at Boston, Jaylen Brown stands out most to me, 6,100 on FanDuel. He's coming in as the cheapest of the main 4 guys. I would probably put Kemba second overall. Gordon Hayward and then Jason Tatum. I just don't love paying all the way up for Jason Tatum when I think that all of these guys look super similar. That extra 10th, Jason Tatum's like a 1.1 fantasy point guy and everybody else is a 1. And I just don't think that's enough to make up all of the salary. But how do you feel about Boston?
Yeah, that's where I'm getting at too with Tatum. I mean, outside of Smart, for the guys getting that 30 plus minutes of run, he's the one I would probably get the least of. But I think the rest of them are pretty fairly priced. And if Tice is going to miss again, I think that Cantor becomes somebody else that I'm interested in. You have a spot for him where he ended up playing around 15 first half minutes in that last game. He started the third quarter off, got 2 quick turnovers and a personal foul, and they just yanked him. So he was getting 7.5 minute sprints in all 3 of the other quarters. So I'm projecting him right now for 28 minutes. I think you can see a little bit more than that even. So and also projecting Tice out. So if that's the case, I think he ends up being the guy that very close to Jaylen Brown as a guy I like the most. Since he's a little bit cheaper, I probably get more. But then Brown after that and Kemba. Kemba's minutes are just been pretty stable, and I don't think you've seen the ceiling since he's been back of that 34, 35-minute game if this one is projected to stay close. So right now I'm getting, if I project Tice out as Cantor, Brown, and Kemba, but Hayward at 63 looks fine. He's a little bit too cheap. A lot of these Boston guys are going to make their way into my lineups as of 9:47.
Okay. Yeah, we just saw, if Daniel Tice is out, we just saw what a highly skilled offensive center. I should use,
Yeah.
Highly is a skilled offensive center. I think we could agree that Jahlil Okafor is at least like a skilled offensive player.
Yeah.
He's just really bad at basically everything else. Enes Kanter is in a similar mold. He is a very skilled offensive center. Could see him tune Drummond up in this one.
Yeah, he literally Okafor literally played Drummond off the court for like a third of that game.
They left Christian Wood out there because they started coming back.
Yeah.
On the Pistons side, as much as this looks bad, 10-2 on FanDuel, 9,400 on DK, 17K on Fantasy Draft, which I think is an interesting price. I'm going to have a hard time avoiding Andre Drummond in this spot. I think he looks pretty good. If it is Kanter, Drummond should still look really good offensively. Only other guy I'd be interested in would be Bruce Brown. Just not loving this Pistons team right now. What do you see from Detroit in a real tough spot against Boston?
Yeah, it's just Drummond. He stands out right now. I mean, the price point looks nice on it. It's a fine matchup if it is Kanter in there for majority of the game either way. But he doesn't even stand out as a priority of paying up. He's probably the guy I get the most of, though. Rose after that, if I project him for 30 minutes, stays at the same price point as his last time out. He seems okay. Nothing of a strong stance. But after that, nothing really. You have Steve's price coming up to 3,900 there. So now he's out of question for me. And really don't know what to do with the rest of this. You have Christian Wood questionable. I have him in right now. If he was to miss, Marcus Morris is still seeing his minutes limited. I have him at 20 today. So you might get a little bit more of a bump there. But with Christian Wood projected in, it's really just Drummond and then some of Derrick Rose. But even that doesn't look that great right now.
Well, I'm glad we're at least on a similar page here. Just not that kind of day. It's going to be ugly. I think it's going to be really ugly.
Yeah, like the rest of these guys just have difficult matchups. Like Brown and his price point came up, so I'm not going to get anything from that.
Okay. Well, let's put this game to bed and head to a Philadelphia 76ers team that I am really not happy with. If these idiots can't win a damn road game anytime soon, it's really going to be bad. I don't want this mustache. I'm going to look dumb. I really need them to turn it on. I need Joel Embiid to get back out there. I hate Laffy.
What's the high level of this bet? I've heard of the bet. I just don't know this.
I need, from 2 games ago, whenever that was, I need the Sixers to have a road record north of 500 by the end of the season. They are 0-2 so far since the bet, and Joel Embiid has gone down. So not a lot in my favor. End of their schedule is rough, which is good. So fingers crossed that they can tread water long enough to play all the garbage at the back end, but
yeah.
I'm not excited. Luckily, this game is in Philadelphia, so I don't have to worry about it. 7.5 point favorites for the Sixers in Brooklyn. And this is going to be the tale of the starting four the main starting four for the Sixers. Simmons, Harris, Horford, Richardson. They're all priced lower than I think they should be. I have a ton of interest in all 4 guys. I'm going to leave it to you. Break this down. What stands out most to you for the Sixers?
Yeah, it's just those big 4. I mean, you can feel pretty confident that they each see around 34 minutes. I have right now Harris at 35, both Horford and Richardson at 34, and then I have Simmons at 37. I think Simmons can see even more than that. 38 would be fine too. So they all stand out. I think Horford stands out the most right now at 6,700, and then Simmons right behind him. But I'm going to like these guys a ton. I have Tobias as one of the better small forward options if you want to roster him there on the slate at just 6,900. You're getting in the last game, Thibault ended up playing 27 minutes, which led to James Ennis not playing. I'm not projecting that again. Either way, just all these guys off the bench, whoever you give that 25-minute game to, whether it's Scott, somehow Ennis, Thibault, Korkmaz, none of them even stand out. So, yeah, for me, it's just these top 4 guys. Richardson would probably be the one I get the least of at that price point, but he still grades out fine. I have it ranked right now as Horford, Simmons, Harris, and Richardson on DraftKings.
Okay. I'm just making some updates to some formulas in the back that I realized I didn't update before I started. Don't think the target score is going to be 304 for DraftKings today. Seems like that might be a little bit off. I'm trying to calibrate a little bit. I have the target on FanDuel already at 425 for today, which is going to be just bonkers. Sorry, I'm going to miss that one. So on FanDuel, I would rank the Sixers guys: Simmons, Richardson, Harris, Horford. I would expect Horford to get a little bit more ownership, though. So I'm actually not that mad about it. It seems like an easy way to get a little bit different. Do you want to do anything else with Sixers, or is it just the main 4 guys?
Yeah, it's just the main four. Like, even if I give Thibault like 24 minutes in this one at 3,400, he doesn't look like anything special. I could bump up like right now, Korkmaz, I think I have at 20. If I give him 24, it doesn't do anything even at 3,100. Same thing for Scott. So, yeah, just none of these guys stand out unless there's some sort of an injury or somebody else enters a starting rotation. Like Scott, if he was to start at the four again, maybe at 3,400, he would look somewhat appealing. But even that, if I give him 25 minutes, he starts to look like a decent play.
Let's head over to the Nets now, where apparently Kyrie Irving is just good to go and play as much as he wants. So, is tonight a Kyrie Irving game for you?
I mean, this is the question. Like, they're on a back-to-back. He played 32 minutes last night. He's looked completely fine, and he said right away he's going to play. But I can't imagine that a guy who was very close to just being shut down for the year is going to go out and play like another 32. So I have him right now at 28. If I put him at 30 or 32, yeah, he looks like a great play. At 28, he just looks like somebody that I probably won't get to. What are you doing with Kyrie? Are you giving him 30?
I gave him 30, but I
Okay.
don't think it's outside the realm of possibility that he plays 32 or more if this game is close. This
Yeah.
was a shoulder injury, correct? Now, obviously, he's had knee injuries in the past, but I think he's probably just fine to go. They gave him the cortisone shot in the shoulder. I assume he feels good enough. And my guess is that there's nothing that he can do to make it like worse. I think it's just a problem. And as long as he can manage the pain, he's going to be out there. So the the best part in all of this is that it's a terrible spot. However, not having Joel Embiid as the rim protector is massive. That changes the way that Kyrie Irving can get to the basket, and obviously Kyrie loves getting to the basket. So 7,900 on FanDuel, 7,900 on DK. If he can get to 32 minutes, I mean he's at 1.8 FanDuel points per minute in the since he's returned. I mean he's been lethal. He's a 1.3 guy just in my model. I think you kind of got to look at him, even though it is just a terrible spot. The question is, does anybody else stand out to you from the Nets?
Yeah, so if I give Kyrie 28, nothing stands out. If I give him 30, then he stands out as the fifth best option for me on DraftKings at the point guard position. So I still don't think I would get anything overwhelming, but it looks fine at 30 minutes. From the rest of the Nets, not much here. Like same thing for LeVert. I think I have him at 26 minutes. He's been playing well, but back to back for him as well. He's played on back-to-backs, but they still haven't unleashed him for those 30 or 32-minute games.
Yeah.
Dinwiddie, we have to kind of see what happens with both Temple and Chandler. Dinwiddie saw 36 minutes in the last one. I think if Temple came back, that would drop a little bit, but they're just short on bodies there, and I don't think they want to be running out Musa and those guys at this point. So I think Dinwiddie looks okay right now if you can give him a stable like 33 minutes or so. So Kyrie at 30 minutes, I would get some. Same with Dinwiddie. And then DeAndre Jordan looks good. He's been playing like 23 minutes as of late. You haven't seen those 28, 30-minute games out of Allen. So I think those are the three. I think you could feel pretty good about Prince getting 30 minutes, but even without Embiid, it's a really tough matchup for just Prince's skill set.
Yeah, DeAndre Jordan's price went up a couple hundred since yesterday. You need every $100 you can get, but I don't disagree that he works as a potential value play. He might even be my favorite thing on DraftKings from the Nets, but that's more a testament to how little I like any part of this team. Oh yeah, I would much rather have the Philly side. I didn't mention it before, but if I'm ranking the Sixers guys for DraftKings, it's Harris, Simmons, Horford, Richardson. So a much different order than I had for FanDuel. Anything else for this game?
No, yeah, I think for me it's Irving, Jordan, and then maybe some of Dinwiddie, depending on what happens with Temple. And if it would look better if you got news that like Irving was only going to play 30 minutes for Dinwiddie.
Miami Heat, San Antonio Spurs. Heat 5-point favorites at home against the Spurs. Justice Winslow is out. Everything else should be business as usual for Miami. As far as I know, everything is good for San Antonio. This is not a fun DFS game. I don't get the sense that I'm going to have a lot here. You could conceivably roster everyone on Miami except for James Johnson. I think Bam is probably the guy that I would get to the most, but I don't really like anything from Miami. Do you?
So I think I like Butler at 86, but it's nothing overwhelming. He's probably I think he's appropriately priced where he is. If he grades out for mid 40s in fantasy points, for me, it looks okay. Everything else, not so much. You have just a lot of balance in their minutes between Nunn, Dragics, and then you go down a little bit more to another tier of the Myers Leonards, the Derek Jones Jr.'s, and Tyler Hero barely cracking the 20-minute range. So it's really hard to see any stability there, but you could get spike games out of all of those guys. So I might have pieces of like Dragic, Nunn, Bam here, but Butler's the one who stands out the most. After that, for me, it's Dragic. I'm also giving Dragic like 26, 27 minutes. He could play 24 for all I know. So, yeah, nothing with any security outside of Butler. I would rank it Butler, Dragic, Nunn, Adebayo on DraftKings for me.
That seems fine. Like, I have Bam as my number 5 center on FanDuel. The highest ranked guy I have from anybody on Miami, just because of the way the value's working right now, is Myers Leonard, but he's 37th. I'm just not going to have these guys. And I'm not really going to have anything from San Antonio. Like, you can talk me into a little bit of LaMarcus Aldridge in the 7K range. DeRozan's price is a little high, so I'm not interested there. Murray is fine if you know he's getting those minutes, but you're never going to expect him to get extra run, 30, 32, something like that. So I'd feel a lot more comfortable just avoiding this game in its entirety.
Yeah, I agree. These teams are very similar with like their rotations, that you're getting like Rudy Gay, you're getting Lyles, all these guys, even Lonnie Walker for like mid-teens to 20 minutes, very similar to just the Miami second unit. So Aldridge grades out, I mean, even as the best play on this team, somebody that I might have some of since he's 7,100. Tough spot makes him, I have him projected for like 36 fantasy points right now, so it just makes him like an okay play. Bryn Forbes, if you were to give him back up to like 26, 27 minutes, he's only 3,700 on DraftKings. He grades out as just like very meh value right now. It's something that I probably wouldn't get to. After that, I right now wouldn't get any DeRozan at his increased price point. None of these guys. So really just Aldridge, maybe some Bryn Forbes, but hoping for better value throughout the day.
We are on the same page at two teams that I am just like wildly not interested in. I'm glad they're playing each other.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it'll go to quadruple overtime.
Right.
Chicago Bulls, Washington Wizards. Great. Bulls 115.75 implied total. Wizards 111.25, so 4.5 point favorites. Obviously, Bulls without Wendell Carter. I think there is a ton to like from Chicago today. I have basically this entire team ranked highly. $3,900 Kobe White on FanDuel, I'm intrigued by. $4,700 on DraftKings. Daniel Gafford, 4,500 and 4,900. I'm more interested in Chris Dunn than I should be. I think given the way the minutes Satoransky's been playing, 4,600 on FanDuel, 6K on DK. You can't ignore him. And I haven't even mentioned the two quote unquote main guys. Zach LaVine been playing really well offensively as of late. 9,300 on DK, $1,000 cheaper on FanDuel. Meanwhile, Lauri Markkanen, 5,100 on FanDuel, 6,400 on DK. Some of these prices on DraftKings are fine, but this whole team is like $1,000 underpriced each on FanDuel. What do you do with the Bulls in arguably the best spot in the league against Washington?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is the best spot. You touched on it. They seem just a lot more appealing over on FanDuel. If you're looking to play more Bulls, that's where I would go. But right now on DraftKings, I think some of them are appropriately priced. I think just based on where Satoransky's minutes have been at 6K, he seems okay. Probably not a guy I get to as much on DraftKings. But so what you've seen lately, and I don't think it's anything outside of like a 2 or 3 game sample, is LaVine being closer to like those 33, 34-minute games. I have him projected for, I believe, 35 here, and he looks like a fine option on DraftKings at 9,300. I think he grades out as my sixth favorite point guard there. Chris Dunn is a guy that I'll be getting to at 5,100 on DraftKings. The minutes have been stable. I have him for 30. What are you doing with $3,100 Luke Cornett, who's played 20-plus minutes in back-to-back games? He's just so cheap right now that he pops for me, but it's really just a factor of price. Like, I have him projected for just under 16 fantasy points, so he stands out as an okay option right now.
Probably don't have him getting enough minutes, so let me rotate through that a little bit, figure out who I'm going to pull from. Go 8 here, which opens up.
Yeah, I put him at 20 right now, but I also didn't dig deep in. I looked at their last game rotation, and it looked normal for his run, but I didn't look at the game before if anything weird happened.
I gave him 18. That brings him in as a perfectly acceptable $3,100 punt, given the spot that value. That's just one other. Like, that didn't affect any of what I said previous to this, so that's just one more piece of Bulls value. I would have a lot of this Bulls side. I probably
Yeah, I
have
would have a
Dunn.
lot on FanDuel. On DraftKings, they all grade out as Dunn, Levine, Young, and Gafford, even White in marketing too. They're all right around that. Just fine plays, 5x, 5.1, 5.2. So I'll have them all as like filler. I think the one that I probably get to the most is Chris Dunn. And as the day goes on, maybe Levine if there's more value.
Dunn has been so bad lately. I have him as a 0.94 guy in my model. He's been at 0.78 fantasy points per minute over the last 30 days. Just
Yeah, I have him at 0.82 right now.
yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes. But if anybody can help you out, it'll be the Washington Wizards. And speaking of the Washington Wizards, I'm not sure there's a rosterable player on this entire team. Maybe Troy Brown at 5,600 given the positions, but look, I like Beal's price, 7,700 on FanDuel, 8,400 on DK. He's cheaper than he should be. How healthy is he? How many minutes does he play? I have no idea. I gave him 30, and I'm not all that interested if he's playing 30 minutes. And I'm
Yeah,
not interested in anybody else because all of their prices are high from the fact that everybody was out for so long. Are you looking to grab any of these guys?
So right now, there's only one that I might look to, and it's really just matchup based, especially if you're going to have Cornette out there for 18 minutes. Is really just Jan Mahimny. I know that Bryant only played 15 minutes in the last one. In this game, I have Bryant for 20 minutes, unless we get any other news, and then I have Mahimny for 25, 26 minutes. So he looks okay, but it's no priority. I have Bertans up to 28 minutes in this one. He could play 30. Either way, that I don't think that changes much for me. And yeah, I have Beal at 32 minutes, and even that looks bad. I think like until you get Beal, he's at his price where he was playing 35, 36, 38 minutes. So until you get like those 34, 35-minute games out of him, I think at this price point and not that great of a matchup for him at 8,400, it's not something I'll get to. So Mahimny looks okay, but that's not even a priority, and he's pretty volatile.
Yeah, Beal would scare me. I'd be anxious to see what his ownership is at. You know, if he's at like 2 or 3% or something, then I would want to have him in large field contests. You never know when they're just going to run him out there for 38 minutes and stop
Yeah.
caring about him. Like they haven't cared about his health when he's on the floor in years. So I don't know why they would suddenly start now. But if he picks up any ownership because of the price, I think it's safe to get away from it.
Yeah, like if we did have news that he was just not going to be owned and late, or you're just trying to take a stance on that. If I put him at 38, which I think would be 9 more than he played in the last one, he would be my 7th best play on the entire slate on DraftKings. So yeah, he would be somebody definitely worth considering. But at like 32, 34, it's just not even popping up.
Perfect. Not a lot of fun games here. It's either just like all or nothing plays. I'll
Well,
take
yeah.
all of Philly. I'll take all of Boston, or I am not interested in this team in general.
Yeah, like I think when I was projecting it last night and this morning, I thought Boston and Philly, they stood out right away. But then just in general, I think DraftKings, this slate for a 10-game slate looks, as of right now, there'll probably be a ton of injury news, but pretty properly priced. There's a couple spots we'll get to that stand out, but it seems pretty fairly priced that there's nothing too egregious.
I agree. I mean, FanDuel is broken, but they've been broken
Yeah.
for a couple weeks now.
Yeah.
DraftKings has been pretty sharp.
Yeah, they've been very good at getting just anything backup wise into like the 4K range, the mid 4K range.
Yeah, they're not a lot of like this guy's 3,100. He's going to play 34 minutes tonight.
Yeah, like Thad Young when he was down there, and really since it was like Gordon Hayward was flatman. Since then, they've been pretty aggressive, I think, at that.
Well, speaking of teams with question marks, Minnesota Timberwolves 108 implied total, 2.5 point underdogs at home against Indiana. That makes me think that Karl Anthony Towns is playing this game. I feel like the Pacers would be bigger than 2-point favorites in Minnesota if Towns was not playing. So I have Karl Anthony Towns projected for 30 minutes right now. He's 10-5 on FanDuel, 10-7 on DraftKings. Not interesting whatsoever. Which sort of makes the entire team not interesting if you put Towns in. You can conceivably get to Andrew Wiggins. Been at 0.92 fantasy points per minute over the last 30 days. Like, he's just not very good. We're talking on Nate Duncan and Danny LaRue talked a little bit about the Central Division trade candidates on their pod from last night, and they floated the idea of a Wiggins for Love trade. Just have Minnesota go all offense. Wiggins originally traded for Kevin Love. They flip-flop back. Minnesota would be terrible defensively, but offensively they would be pretty dirty. Would never happen, but thought it was crazy. Oh, also, I mentioned in Slack yesterday that Andre Drummond had no trade value. Apparently, all of the trade packages that have been coming in for Andre Drummond are just expiring contracts with no assets.
Really?
That's what no trade value means.
Yeah.
Yeah. Surprise, surprise. Apparently, nobody wants to just acquire him early so that they can pay him $30 million a year for the next 4 years. Who knew?
Yeah, and just get this somewhat stat stuffing rebound games out of him.
Yeah.
I think where it makes sense was where like it definitely doesn't make sense for the Knicks to want to acquire him, but anything like development wise, if that's what they were thinking, if it's cheap, I guess would make sense.
Yeah, like if you're the Hawks and all you're giving up is Chandler Parsons' expiring contract and a second-round pick,
yeah,
sure. Let's see how he looks with Trae Young. Maybe that's going to be a move you want to make moving
that's
forward. But you gotta hope. You then have to make the decision: do I want to give him a 3+1 at $25 million a year? I don't know. Hawks are going to have a lot of money. Do you want anything from Minnesota?
So I have Towns out right now, but even then, not really. So the thing that's just kind of striking is, you brought up Wiggins' point per minute production. His minutes also haven't been the 35, 36 since the injury. Like I have him projected for 32, and that would be a high number out of the 5 or 6 games since he's been back that he would see out of him. I think he's been playing like 31 or just below that because of some blowouts. But it's a spot that none of them really stand out. Right now, I only have like guys that I feel pretty confident getting with Towns out. If this was the case, if Towns was in, it wouldn't change too much. But guys like in that 30+ minute range, Wiggins, Covington, and Culver, and they all just crack it. So there's just not minutes here. Dang's been playing below 20 the last 3 times out there. I don't think he stays down there if Towns is out for long, but it's nothing that I feel confident in. So yeah, Wiggins and Culver and Covington are all just very average plays for me. Just because of his price, Naz Reid pops a little bit, but nothing crazy. Like his point per minute production is very skewed since he's just hit like 6 threes in very small amounts of time. Nothing stands out here too much. Culver probably be the one I get to the most.
I like that call. 4,800 for Culver on DraftKings is a decent value on a slate that has very little value right now.
Yeah.
On the Pacers side, pace up spot. Should be pretty good. Brogdon looks to be healthy. Got 28 minutes in the last game. 30. I had him in for 28 minutes. Ended up playing 33 and a half. So it doesn't seem like it's going to be an issue for him there. I'm in for some Sabonis, 8,300 on both sites. I'm in for Malcolm Brogdon, 6,800 on FanDuel, 67 on DK. Jeremy Lamb's minutes are kind of weird, but for 4,600, again, there's not a lot of value in the mid-tier. He's a guy that can create his own shot. I'm okay with it. I see Indiana more as filler than priorities, but I would have a lot of filler coming from the Pacers.
Yeah, so I think for me, at least right now, Brogdon would be a priority if I can give him 31 or 32 minutes after that last game. I have him in right now at 31, and he looks like somebody I would get a lot of. He's like a 8th option for me on the whole slate right now, a number 3 for point guards. I like Brogdon a lot if I can get those minutes out of him. And what I think is a fine matchup for Sabonis. Is Sabonis questionable? I saw one site yes, and like 2 others no. So I put him in as questionable, but I have him projected to play. Okay. I haven't projected to play.
I'm pulling up the actual injury report from last night now, so I can give you like a true answer.
Yeah, I think it was a knee.
He is. The only 2 people on the Pacers injury report are Sabonis is questionable and Victor Oladipo is out.
Gotcha. So, yeah, either way, Brogdon and Sabonis grade out as if Sabonis is in and you can get 33, 34 minutes out of him at 3,300, I would like that. I would like it even more if Towns ended up playing. So
yeah,
those 2 guys stand out head and shoulders above the rest. Brogdon, the one I would get to the most here. And then after that, the rest just look okay. Warren, Lamb look fine. Turner, I'm probably not going to get to at 6,500 now, but even that looks decent. Really for me, Brogdon's a priority, and then Sabonis is, depending on ownership, would become more of a priority if he's lower owned.
Yeah, you sort of mentioned this in passing, though. This game gets much better for the Pacers if Towns plays.
Yes, yeah.
And that'll get slept on a little bit, but that is a very true statement. So thanks for pointing that out. Guys, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when we go live. It's the perfect opportunity for you guys to do that. Lofty put out the call for likes yesterday. A certain competitor of ours was shooting for 150. We got about 300 in the 90 seconds after Lofty asked for that. So
Really?
we
Holy cow.
we really appreciate that. You guys went nuts on the like button last night. I want to make sure that I get the right number. 1,065 likes on the Deeper Dive Live Before Lock combo stream last night. So thank you very much for that. Let's try to do it here. Everybody, hit that thumbs up while you're listening. Whether you're listening to it now and you're just joining us, if you're listening to this and it's 2:00 in the afternoon, those thumbs up still count. Please hit it. It's greatly appreciated. Doesn't cost you anything other than just a button click. So we'd love it if you could help us out there.
That's the part that's crazy too. Getting 1,000 plus, because I imagine like the Live Before Lock stuff is really just viewed like live, right? Yes. For the most part.
Yeah, that's we had 900 while we were still live.
Wow, that's fantastic.
We went from 64 to 110 in like 5 seconds, now up to 130. So yeah, we are going for it. Nice. Free content today. The NBA deep dive article that will be written by Adam today. So check that out. PGA projections also free today, and our NHL rankings are free. Alex will have his game plan stream at 4 p.m. That will be behind the paywall. NHL strategy stream will also be at 4 p.m. That will be with Jake. At 5 o'clock, you'll get Laffy and Adam for the deeper dive. And then 6 p.m., Fast Eddie Fear and Chris Spags. Spags covering for me tonight. Then 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, PGA Live Before Lock. Ben Rasa and Jason Roslin talking Amex. Jason Roslin, talking the Amex. Really just wonky PGA contest this week. So you probably want to tune into that. It's a weird one. Cuts on the third day. There's multiple courses. You don't want to listen to my takes in golf. Listen to these guys. They know what they're talking about, and they go live just after NBA lock, so 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time tonight. 5 more to go. We are at the halfway point. Oklahoma City Thunder, Toronto Raptors. Thunder 2-point favorites at home. I'd like to watch this game. I think both of these teams are like solid basketball teams. I have very little interest in them from a fantasy perspective. OKC side, I don't really like anything from FanDuel. Steven Adams is my number 6 center. SGA and Paul are 10th and 11th at their positions. Now on DraftKings, $6,600 Chris Paul. I can't avoid that. He's 11-9 on fantasy draft. I like that as well. But I don't have much interest in the rest of OKC, and I don't really have all that much interest in Toronto. These guys are priced where they should be. I don't totally know where the minutes are going to be coming in. Marc Gasol is supposed to be back, so that muddies the waters for the Raptors a bit. What are you seeing? Either side, if anything jumps out.
Yeah, so I was at with 2 of my cousins in Jersey at a place called Destination Dog, and it was this like gourmet hot dog place. It was great. And my cousin turns over to me and he's like, "Did you have SGA in DFS tonight?" And I hadn't been following it for like an hour and a half. Didn't see any injury news. So I was like, no, but I had Chris Paul, so I knew this was about to be bad. And yeah, I saw the 20, 20, and 10. He showed me some Twitter video of it. And then I checked and I was like, of course, the absolute nut low performance from Chris Paul when that happens.
He had 0, 6, and 0 at one point when I checked it. And I was just, because I had a lot of Chris Paul as well. I was like, oh, cool. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, it was terrible. So that being said, Paul's the one who would stand out the most. I think the same price point on DraftKings again against Toronto. It's just too cheap for, even if he's getting less minutes, like you're not getting 34 or 32 out of him. I think you still have the 32 upside. Even if you give him 30, 31 minutes, it still looks fine. The rest of the team, not so much. Like Schroeder looks like okay value. The problem with Steven Adams is you're just not getting major minutes out of him. I have him at 28 today. That doesn't look great. Gasol coming back or expected to return. If I have Gasol in for 20, that makes it even worse for a guy like Adams for the full run that he'll be out there. So I ended up giving Diallo and Ferguson a little bit more minutes without Nader out there. It doesn't do anything for them. So yeah, I think Schroeder and Gallo are like fine values. Paul's probably the one to get to the most on OKC. Toronto is like the same thing. Lowry stands out, but with Gasol expected to play, and if he indeed does play, I have Ibaka at 28, Gasol at 20, and that just doesn't look good for them. Yep. I don't know what's going to happen with Siakam's minutes, but even if he's like 33, 34, it's still not enough to get there.
I agree. I think I could give Terrence Ferguson all 48 minutes and not get him. Do you know how bad he is? So I have him as a 0.47 fantasy point per minute guy. That might be the lowest, actually, in my model. Let me look at that.
Yeah, I was going to say he has to be the worst in the league. When he first started getting run, Yeah, when he first started getting run, like not this year, but like in the past years, I played him at like a decent clip, hoping that just the 30 minutes a game, 32 at some points, 33, would just rebound for a half decent game. And his decent games are like 14 fantasy points.
He is dead last in my model. Dead last. I have 1,012 NBA players graded out. He is dead last in fantasy points per possession. So I have him at 0.47 per minute. Over the last 30 days, he is at 0.37 fantasy points per minute. That's hard to do.
Yeah.
That is hard.
No, that's really bad. Like, I mean, if you ended up giving like Diallo all those minutes in 28, there would be interest there for me. At least it would start to happen at flat minimum. But
he stinks too, but he just stinks so much less.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. And he's flat min. But I saw somebody just say in the comments about SGA, I think it's worth mentioning. Yeah, like the price point came up. So that's the reason I don't like him. But he still projects out for 36. You got the big game last time. So you're probably not going to get that back to back, just historically wise for this guy. But that's the thing. Like at 7,400, you can still roster him. Just if you're looking at medium projections, he's not going to be anywhere. So you probably don't get him in ownership either. So for the person that asked that right now, like just with the price increase of like almost $1,000, it's probably not a spot I'll get to.
You mean to tell me you don't think that SGA is going to get 20 rebounds again?
Well, when I saw that my cousin told me 20, 20, and 10, and I assumed the 10 was the rebounds. And then I was like, oh, nuts. And then I didn't even know until I think I was listening to one of the shows yesterday, and it was either Adam or Lofty mentioned that it was 20 rebounds. And then I was just even more just flabbergasted.
Yeah. It's a much different game if it's 20 assists.
Yeah.
But yeah, on just summing up Toronto for me, I maybe a little Norm Powell on FanDuel, maybe a little OG on DraftKings, but with everybody coming back, it's muddy water. Oh God, Denver Nuggets, Charlotte Hornets. Nuggets are 12.5-point favorites at home. Going to be without Paul Millsap, but that's not all. Jamal Murray questionable, Gary Harris questionable. Pay close attention to this one. I have Harris and Murray in for right now.
Yep.
All hell breaks loose if one of those guys come out. If both of them end up out, you're going to find a ton of value in Denver. As of right now, I do like Gary Harris a little bit, 4,500 on FanDuel, 4,700 on DK if he plays. I also don't mind Jamal Murray on DraftKings at 6,800. Jokic is fine. I'm not a big Jeremy Grant guy, even if he is getting 30 minutes, but at 4K on FanDuel, it needs to at least be looked at. It's really hard for me to talk about Denver right now, knowing that there's like 70 minutes in the balance, potentially not playing tonight.
Yeah, I mean, over on DraftKings, it's nothing really looks great here. I have Murray and Harris in. I think Harris is the one who's more of a question mark, just because Murray this year has played through questionable tags and really for his whole career so far, I think he's missed like 6-7 games or something like that. So at 6,800, Murray is right now my favorite Nugget. But if you get Harris or Murray, or like you said, both of them out, either way, I think it definitely helps guys like Monty Morris. You can keep an eye on Porter Jr., but I would like Morris the most at 3,600. If one of those guys missed, I'd probably take a shot there. Even without them, even with them both in, if I give Morris 20 minutes, he's not a great play, but at 3,600, he looks like okay math value right now. So it would be a good bump for him. But right now, just Murray, and then at 5K, some Jeremy Grant. But even that's right around an okay play.
Yeah, if Murray ends up being out, Morris becomes pretty much a lock for the slate, right?
Yeah, I think so. And then also, it's tough because they already have him priced up. It would give Barton a nice boost just for point guard responsibilities, but he's at 7K, so it would be like priced in for that boost. Right now, it doesn't look good though if Murray does play.
SMP says they called up Dozier from the G League. At least one of them is going to be out. This team is deep, man. Calling up Dozier, I can't imagine makes one bit of difference. I mean, they're already not playing a bunch of guys that should be playing bigger minutes on other teams.
Yeah.
Monty Morris can soak up 30 easily. Malik Beasley can soak up 30. I don't even have Juancho Hernan-Gomez in their rotation. He's a guy that can play 24 minutes if they need to. So they are not short on bodies, whether they're calling up Dozier or not. It is a interesting piece of information. I'm not trying to play it off like that, but they got enough bodies to soak this bad boy up. Pay close attention to it. Like I said, Monty Morris will become an essential play if Jamal Murray is out. If Gary Harris is out, pick your poison. Probably Malik Beasley, but they can go a lot of different directions. It's probably a little bit more of Monty Morris as well.
Yep.
And on the Charlotte side, they continue to be dreadful. Anybody talking about them having playoff aspirations really just, I don't care if they're 2 games out of the loss column or something. They are 12.5-point underdogs in the game. Go ahead and safely project them as bad. As of right now, they have a less than 1% chance to make the playoffs. 538 has them finishing 26-56. Yeah, they just stink. I'll play Devontae Graham at 7K on FanDuel and 7,300 on DraftKings. I don't know. Do you play Nick Batum because he's playing 30 minutes a game now?
Yeah, I saw that. I saw the back-to-back 30-minute games. He even if I put him at like 28 or 30 minutes, I think I have him at 28. That like doesn't even look great in this matchup. It would change a lot if Harris and or Murray were out.
Yeah.
Maybe not a lot for him, but it would change a little bit. Right now, I wouldn't be getting much of him. I think the guy that I would get the most of is right now from this team, probably Zeller at 3,900. He grades out the best for me from the team. And then you have Graham and Rozier behind him. Biyombo didn't play in the last game. I don't know if you have a read on that. It ended up being they played Willie Hernangomez 16 minutes. Zeller played 22. Batum played back-to-back 30 minutes, but Biyombo didn't step on the court in the last game. After it was announced that he would come off the bench, he didn't play. So I'm not just giving him 0. I ended up splitting pretty much Hernangomez and Biyombo just so I got none. I have like 12 for each of them, and I have Zeller at 23.
I don't know what they're going to do there. I assumed it had something to do with Biyombo taking one to the face on Sunday.
Okay.
But I honestly, I don't know if that's why he sat out or not. I haven't seen anything. Not a lot of people trying to connect the dots for Bismack Biyombo's playing time.
And Willie Hernangomez.
Right. Everybody's just kind of like, you know what? We're not going to dig into this. Who cares? No one cares.
Yeah. So either way, I think that Zeller's minutes seem at least stable for like 20 to 22. I think I have him at 20. Actually, I have him at 23 right now. And then he grades out really nice for like 22 fantasy points at that price point, at least. So the only issue is he's a center only guy. So he's power forward now in DraftKings. So that actually makes it a lot better. So yeah, Zeller's the guy I imagine I get to the most here.
I like it. No issues there. He is the best point per dollar play that I see for Charlotte. And you could get lucky and he could just play like actual bigger minutes.
Yeah.
Zeller's talented. He just can't stay healthy.
Yeah, that's the issue. Like beginning of the year, I thought he was going to be, I mean, obviously nobody saw Graham coming this year and people could have projected this year, but I thought he was going to be like the staple of this offense, or at least how they were going to play through it like last year to an extent, but nowhere near that.
No. Whew, here we go. Houston Rockets, Portland Trailblazers. Rockets 122.25 implied total. That is the highest on the slate by like 7. Blazers 113.75. So they are 8.5 point underdogs, but they still have like the 3rd highest implied total. Yeah. Start on Houston with Russell Westbrook back. And it's pretty much just 2 guys that I'm like really interested in. That would be James Harden, 11-7, 12-4. And Russell Westbrook, 9,200 on FanDuel, 9,600 on DK. I prefer Harden to Westbrook. I'll happily pay up for him here. And then I would probably go back to, taking the beating from PJ Tucker for 4,200. I won't be happy about it, but this is a Harden and Westbrook game, and I still prefer Harden.
Yeah, I have Harden pretty significantly or pretty close to that over Westbrook right now. So yeah, I would probably pay up for Harden. Neither of them are like guys that I'm prioritizing, at least right now on the slate. We'll see what happens if I doubt we're going to get any AD news, but That would change some things for me. Yeah, all these guys just grade out okay for me. Like Clint Capella looks okay. Westbrook and Harden would be the priorities. Tucker once again, but do you have like Tucker's recent point per minute, like your last 30-day stuff?
0.55.
I was gonna say because he's like a 0.68 or something on the season or close to that. So he's been brutal outside of the 2 games ago when Westbrook missed his. He was okay, but like that's something that I'm trying to just like work in. Like he projects out for like 20 fantasy points. So it looks okay at 4,200. It's very similar to Zeller. But yeah, all these secondary guys are just like okay value. House, McLemore. It's really hard in Westbrook. I would have Capella before all those secondary guys.
Took 1 shot yesterday in 30.
Yeah, all those guys were looking pretty bad. I got off the plane. It was like halftime. And I think like McLemore had like 4 at half, but he ended up finishing well.
Yeah, McLemore ended up finishing well. Now with Russ back, I don't have a ton of interest in like McLemore, Rivers, even Eric Gordon. Yeah. What I'd like to like more, but it's pretty much just Harden and Russ. The pay up options don't look great. Like I don't find Luka to be all that appealing. I don't find LeBron to be all that appealing.
Yeah, that's where I'm at right now. I think I think they did a good job pricing the slate, and just where the matchups are, it makes that like 8K range look pretty juicy today.
On the Portland side, can't avoid these guys, unfortunately. Whiteside for 9,500 on FanDuel, but 8,200 on DraftKings continues to just have a really nice price. I am in there. TJ McCollum for 6,800 on DraftKings looks great. Melo for 6,200 looks great. I'd like to Kent Bays less, but I'll probably Kent Bays more, 4K. Lillard, probably my least favorite guy from Portland, 9K. This is a pace-up spot. You would expect him to want, like, this is the kind of game that he would want to go bigger on, try to look like the best guard on the floor. But for me, I would rather have the other three main guys from Portland, and I would probably end up getting to more Bazemore considering the salary. But can't get away from Portland here.
Yeah, I like all these guys that you were just mentioning. So McCollum's the guy I like the most right now. Just getting stable, even 35 minutes a game. He's right at a fantasy point per minute this season. Having his minutes staggered, so that looks okay as well. Carmelo Anthony at 6,200. You're going to have to rely on those like 15 shot attempt nights, but they're coming more frequently than not right now. So he stands out. Guy you could roster as a small forward playing power forward. Whiteside at 8,200 would be after that. So right now I have McCollum pretty significantly my favorite guy from Portland. Melo and Whiteside look very close for me as a second option. I would probably prioritize Whiteside more just because of what you have as a ceiling on him. But he looks great. And yeah, the rest look okay. Like Lillard comes in right there with Bazemore. Bazemore grades out well, but it's just a guy that very similar to what we were just talking about with Tucker. Like I want to just adjust his rates a little bit, or at least you have like his 30-day as well. Like since Melo has been there, since Melo's been there, that's something that I want to go back and look at. I should have looked at that before, but like it's really bad. Like it feels like you're going to get a game out of him that makes sense 1 out of every like 4 or 5.
0.61 fantasy points per minute over the last 30 days for Bazemore.
I guess it's not terrible if you're giving him 30.
I have him as a 0.79 guy, so it's going to be one of the biggest gaps between baseline talent and performance.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Not good. But you can't avoid this game, at least from a DFS perspective. Lots to like, I think, from Portland.
Yeah, I think the only other thing that probably doesn't make its way into any fantasy relevance, but Gary Trent's been playing like 20 minutes a game. I think part of that is because Hezonja's been out. Hezonja's questionable today, so if Hezonja was to miss again, I Trent for 22 minutes at 3,100. It's just okay value if you're down in that range, but it's at least worth mentioning. He's seeing the minutes.
Trent actually below Kent Bazemore in the last 30 days in points per minute.
Brutal.
A lot of these are brutal. Kent Bazemore 0.61, Anthony Simons 0.58, Gary Trent 0.58, Anthony Tolliver 0.65, Nasir Little 0.45. Nobody doing anything.
Yeah, that's bad. And if somebody was like tracking Tolliver's minutes, they'll probably reduce with Whiteside getting healthier from, I believe, illness.
Yeah, I would expect Anthony Tolliver to play any non-Hassan Whiteside center minutes at best.
Yeah.
2 to go. Sacramento Kings, Dallas Mavericks. Kings 2-point underdogs at home against Dallas. For the Kings, by all accounts, Corey Joseph should be fine. Marvin Bagley should be fine for this one. Doesn't look like we're going to have Bogdan Bogdanovic, but that's really it. We obviously know Rashawn Holmes is out. I like De'Aaron Fox quite a bit on both sites. I like Buddy Hield for 5,800 on FanDuel. It's one of my favorite plays of the day. He is number 1 on DraftKings for me at 6,500. Sign me up for a little bit of Harry Barnes on DraftKings. If Nemanja Bjelica is going to continue to play 40 minutes, I'll probably have to look at him, huh? I'm in. Yeah, I'm in for a lot of Sacramento.
Yeah, I think this team right now it's right there with the Sixers as like my most appealing team just because of the price points. Like, yeah, Fox stands out. He's been playing huge minutes. I have him at 35 right now, but what he's been playing as of late is 36 or 37, 38, 36. So yeah, 35, he looks fantastic. If you get a 38-minute game out of him, it's going to look great here at 8,000. Matchup not the greatest, but I think it's okay at the price point. These guys all stand out. Buddy Hield I have slightly above Fox right now. He's my favorite play, 6,500 on DraftKings from this team. I think he's one of the better plays on the slate overall. Just with no Bogdan, he's doubtful today. So you're just getting bigger minutes out of Buddy, out of Barnes, and then also Ariza. Ariza I've been for 28 minutes. That looks okay. He's been playing 30 a couple of times. So over the last couple of days, you can get that there as well. All these guys look great. I think Bagley will start to play more minutes. I have Dedmon out of the rotation today. Yeah, I have just Giles getting like 16 minutes of backup, Bagley getting a lot of center minutes, and then that just leaving a lot of run for Bielitsa still in Ariza.
Same. Yeah, we are on the same page here. Sacramento slowly turning into a really fun DFS destination.
Yeah, and it's something that you would have expected, but just got beat up early with Fox and Bagley, but now they're back. And yeah, I have Bagley at 26 today, so even he looks okay, but not a priority. 26 minutes, that is.
Yeah, I gave him 24. Not all that interested. He's going to need a little bit more from me to get there at this point. On the Dallas side, Kristaps Porzingis supposed to be back. I believe he's probable. 7,400 on both sites. I am not interested. I gave him 28 minutes. This is pretty much just Luka for me. Are you looking at anybody else from Dallas? I just don't trust the rest of these guys to get like 24 minutes a game.
Yeah, no, even Luka on DraftKings at 12-1, like I'm more interested in Harden if I'm paying up there. But yeah, I gave Porzingis 28. Luka, you haven't been seeing the 34 minutes as of late. A lot of it is blowout related, coming back from the injury. So I have Luka at 32, and yeah, I would just prefer Harden or just a lot of guys that are in that 9 and 8K range ahead of him when somewhat paying up. So yeah, Porzingis is going to come back and play 28 minutes. Powell and Kleber just don't make any sense at their current price points in the 5K range. And all these guards outside of like Seth Curry, if you got a spike game out of him, but he's projected for me for 20 minutes and that looks bad. So it's just Luka if you were trying to go for pure point upside in that 70-point ceiling game. But even then, right now, I don't expect to get anything from Dallas, even considering Luka too.
That works for me. Yeah, you basically summed up everything I was going to say. Luka would be the guy that I like, but I like Harden more than I like Luka, so that makes it a little tricky. And today is not a day where I like Luka a ton. So I don't get the sense that I'm going to have a lot coming out of Dallas. This is much more a Sacramento thing.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and Sacramento on the other side. Like, I didn't really talk much about Bielitsa, but I have him at 32 minutes. He looks great. That whole team looks really good. If you're looking for any sort of like filler value, or you're down between a couple of guys, all their minutes seem pretty secure.
And then we close it out. The Los Angeles Lakers hosting the Orlando Magic. Lakers are 9-point favorites at home against Orlando. I've got Anthony Davis in. Who knows? Just easier to do that because if you put Anthony Davis in, you don't really have to pay attention to the rest of the team. It's a LeBron James, Anthony Davis game, at which point I have a little bit of interest in Bron, but it's not really a great fantasy game. Pace down spot for the Lakers. Both LeBron and AD are over 10K on both sites. Do you like either one of these guys if AD plays?
Yeah, so I have AD in for 32 minutes. He practiced yesterday. Nothing really much came out of that. There wasn't really any extent to how much he was practicing. It just said that he went through practice. And then, yeah, like you said, it makes it easier to project. Right now, just like value rating wise, I have LeBron as my 24th option. So, yeah, like he's not a guy that I'm getting too much interest in on DraftKings, at least. He would be the guy I would get the most out of this Lakers team. AD, if I gave him those 32 minutes, is not something I'm going to get to. I don't think they come back and give him just 35. After that, not much interest if AD is going to be in there. I think KCP, there's going to be no Rondo for the next game or two. KCP looks like okay filler at 3,600 for like 18 fantasy points I haven't projected. That's as good as it gets from the Lakers. I think you get more Caruso. Quinn Cook's been playing minutes as well, but not enough for it to be meaningful, especially when a lot of those will be just backing up LeBron. So, yeah, it's just LeBron here. Maybe a share or two of KCP if you're playing a ton of lineups, but that's about it.
That works for me. I cannot believe how many of these games are just like I don't have any interest in this entire team.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like I usually put like a yes if I have interest or just like an X for a maybe. And for a 10-game slate, I end up having like a lot of maybes, but I would say like out of 50 players marked or 55, like 15 or 20 of them are just guys in like the teens and fantasy points as some sort of value.
Yeah, it's really gross right now. I'm really anxious to see what this looks like closer to lock. Hopefully I can get the Wi-Fi while I'm floating over the middle of the country.
What would be the states? You could time it out. Whatever states are, you can buy that like hour pass.
Oh, I mean, I'll buy it for the whole flight.
Yeah, that makes sense. I had the flight I had yesterday and on Sunday was a 1-hour flight, and their options were the whole flight pass for like $12, the day for $20, or the 30-minute pass for like $3. So I just bought. I don't even know why they do it like that. I just bought $2-3 passes.
They're probably not thinking about the actual flight that you're on.
Yeah.
What time is my flight? Let's see where I think I'll be. So I'll be leaving Charlotte at 126. Nope, that's my return flight. That's preposterous. 6:05. I leave Charlotte. So I will be not too far away from the state of North Carolina. Tennessee, something in that neighborhood.
Yeah, you should be good.
So I should be okay there. Okay, let's close this out. Orlando Magic. Nikola Vucevic, 8,900 on FanDuel, 8,500 on DK. Looks meh. But it doesn't look like we're going to have DJ Augustine here. So Terrence Ross is 4,400 on DraftKings. I think he's he's, to me, the best play coming out of this game. But it certainly opens up a little bit more for Evan Fournier, Markelle Fultz, Aaron Gordon if he's on the floor. But Terrence Ross is the guy that I want the most here. What do you want to do with the Magic?
Yeah, Ross and Fournier are pretty close for me. Fournier just getting big minutes right now. I've been projected for 34. Tough matchup against the Lakers, especially for the guards, but I do like Fournier. I might get the most of him at 6K, but Ross is pretty close. The rest of them just look like filler. If Aaron Gordon gets back up to the 32 minutes a game, he looks good at 58. Those are like my top three. Fultz at 30 minutes is just somebody that I probably pass on more times than not. I ended up projecting Gary Clark for like 4 minutes just to put it in there. They signed him yesterday. I think if anything, it hurts a one-do, and that doesn't really matter. I was going to ask you if you think, one, if Clark gets any run today, it's a 10-day contract. Two, do you think it takes anything away from Ross? Because that's like if it took 2 minutes away, that would actually impact something for me, but I have it just pulling from a one-do.
Yeah, I don't think that it matters all that much. I think we could see Josh Maggette get a couple minutes as well.
Okay.
But ultimately, I don't think it matters. Like I gave Terrence Ross 28. Even if he gets 26, I'm still interested at 4,400 just because I think he's going to be looking for his own shot.
Yep, that makes sense.
But other than that, like, it's not like Fournier or Vooch or Gordon or anything are jumping off the page. They just look like, 5 to 10 percenters. It's just a lot of filler. This is a gross slate right now. And the guys that I like the most, I would have never landed on in my head, like Whiteside, Chris Paul, Buddy Hield, Chris Dunn, Harrison Barnes, Daniel Gafford potentially. Like, that's disgusting. And yet that's sort of the lineup that won last night.
Yes, it's a lot of, like, for me, it's looking like a lot of 6 and just 8K guys right now.
Crazy dogs. Uh-oh. Crazy dogs. No, nothing bad. Nothing bad. All right, so let's sum it up. What are your faves on DraftKings for tonight?
Yeah, I'll try and do this by salary. I'll filter it. So I'll end up I'll go with Harden, Simmons, Sabonis, Whiteside, Fox, McCollum, and Brogdon. And also you can go like Harrison, Horford.
All right, for FanDuel, get ready for a weird player pool. Point guard's going to be Tomas Satoransky, Ben Simmons, and Chris Dunn. You find another person that names those three guys in order. They probably watched my video. Buddy Hield, Bruce Brown, Josh Richardson. That's shooting guard. At small forward, best of luck to you. Tobias Harris, Jaylen Brown, and feel free to pick any of the rest of the garbage. It looks really, really unappealing. Notice that I did not say LeBron James's name there. If AD is out, obviously feel free to jam him right in. Power forward, it's going to be Lauri Markkanen at 5,100, Daniel Gafford, Manya Bielitsa. And then at center, Hassan Whiteside at 9,500. I guess $7,800 Capella, $6,300 Miles Turner. Guys, be sure to tune into the deeper dive at 5 o'clock today. Be sure to tune into Live Before Lock at 6 o'clock today. Information is going to be paramount. This is a really tough slate, and it's going to take some time today. So I really hope that you guys can dig into it. Sal, let the people know where they can find you.
Yeah, you can give me a follow over on Twitter if you would like, at Sal Vetri DFS. And then I have a YouTube channel broken down into a podcast, just Sal Vetri if you search there for more fantasy content.
There we go, guys. Please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when we go live. Thank you very much to Yahoo Sports for being the presenting sponsor. Go sign up at Yahoo. It's the only place that you can become a baller. Find that link in Emacs Cash Building Blocks article. That is it for me. I will not be on another show until Monday morning, so please enjoy everybody else working at Awesemo.com. Thank you to everyone that is covering for me while I'm away. Gonna go enjoy some time on the left coast. Be nice to everybody while I'm gone. And best of luck tonight. Sal, good luck tonight.
You as well. Enjoy the trip.
That I can do. Later, guys.